Just going to ask you to do that. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of the National Child Passenger Safety Board, we want to thank you for joining us for 2024 CPS Week Toolkit. This webinar will share CPS Week resources, provide a sneak peek of the updated inspection station guide, and some helpful resources for running an effective inspection station. Today's speakers are National Child Passenger Safety Board members, Laura Dunn, Marie Snodgrass, and Liz Perez. I am Brittany Lombard, the CPS Advocate Representative on the National Child Passenger Safety Board. We do have some planned time to answer questions at the end of the presentation, so please put your questions in the Q&A box. Next slide. As a reminder, we request all attendees to not participate in this webinar if you're operating a motor vehicle. The webinar is being recorded, and you can listen to that recording when you arrive safely at your destination. The recording will be posted to carseateducation.org within 1 to 2 business days. And for the child passenger safety technicians in attendance, the presentation qualifies for the community education requirement and does not qualify for CPST CEUs. Please join me in welcoming our presenters. First, we will have Laura Dunn.
There it is. Sorry, guys. How is everybody today? I am happy to talk to you guys today about NHTSA's Child Passenger Safety Week resources this year. I'm going to talk to you guys for just about 10 minutes. We want to get on to the main event today, which is Liz and Marie. So my name is Laura Dunn, and I am NHTSA's programmatic subject matter expert for child passenger safety and heat stroke at the agency. So today, I want to talk about where to find our new Child Passenger Safety Week resources this year. I'm going to talk a little bit about heat stroke and share some exciting things that are coming. As I said, I want a little sneak peek of heat stroke. And these that you can see right now are our newest assets for heat stroke, our new campaign that we filmed earlier this year. So if you see these, you'll know that they're the newest ones. And you can find all of these at trafficsafetymarketing.gov. You'll find all that material for heat stroke that you can use. So to get to this page, you click safety topics, child safety, and then heat stroke to get to that. So it has an overview of the campaign. It has the latest facts. There's a little fact area. Sample variable message boards, talking points, some sample news releases, sample social media posts, things like that. What you're looking at on the screen are examples of the outdoor assets. So these are things that you would see like on bus shelters, as billboards, any kind of outdoor advertising stuff. And we also have Spanish translations of those things. As you guys know, our summers are hot, and it feels like summer just gets longer every year. Our heat stroke campaign does really run year round. So I don't hesitate to continue using these later into the summer and fall. Unfortunately, we're still having fatalities for heat stroke this year. So it's just another thing to add to your toolkit to keep people safe in your community. Now I want to talk about traffic safety marketing. So some of you may have noticed that traffic safety marketing got a little facelift this year. It looks a little bit different. So things may look slightly different than it has in the past. And you won't see a heading that specifically says CPS Week. It used to say that. So when you go to the site, you choose the campaign that says car seats, boosters, and belts. Okay. And then again, click this square in the middle that says car seats, boosters, and seatbelts. Okay. And that takes you to that heading right there. And you'll notice there's kind of like a little subheading and it says facts, CPS week, messaging, graphics and videos, ads and resources. So if you keep scrolling down this page, that's where you'll continue to see the assets pop up right there for child passenger safety. So one thing I want to call your attention to that's different from years past is the facts that used to be in the fact sheet are now on this page. So it's on this web page so we can update it in real time so they're more timely for folks. We don't have a separate fact sheet anymore. We do have a separate document that is labeled talking points, which those used to be kind of smashed into one document. So now it's separated. The facts are on this live web page, and then the talking points are a separate Word document as part of the earned media that you can download. Another way to get, more data, different data, if you want something different, is to click on that little blue button on the right side that talks about getting more facts and reports. That's from NCSA. Many of you are familiar with how to look at the data on that website. So that is something that is available. Also, it's just kind of an easy link for people to get there. You will notice that under CPS week, we have on this live web page, it now says future dates, and they're all kind of listed out there. In the past, we used to make a separate downloadable PDF that had future CPS week dates. We're no longer doing that. We want them to live live on this web page that people can look at right here. So there's no confusion about when that's happening, if we have to change something, if the document's old, things like that. So the future dates are right there. We've done it out to 2029. We've tried to avoid, major holidays and things like that. So that is there for your planning purposes for everybody. And another thing that you will see that's a little bit different, that's further down the page, it just has additional resources, and that's where things that folks commonly use kind of live now. So there's a bunch of our educational flyers, that photos, our photo library, and the icons, and then guides about how to use some of those media guides about how to use things are right there. Like some of our educational flyers, I know many of you are familiar with some of our more popular ones. The Pregnant Women's Guide to Buckling Up is a perennial favorite. People love it. Our car seat recommendations, and then some of these more issue-based educational flyers. These are all available in English and Spanish. If you need something in Spanish and you're not able to find it, please send me an email, and I would be happy to find that for you. Again, just examples of some of our issue-based educational flyers. If you have something that you're interested in having a flyer about that we don't have, we would love to develop that for you. So shoot me an email. I would love to work on that. Another thing, now we're getting into the actual graphics and the actual new things that we have this year. So this is that subheading where it has facts, CPS week, messaging, graphics and videos, ads and resources. These are graphics. So the ones that you're seeing right now are the general ones. We also have ones that are specific to installing and registering, seasonally themed ones, and then all the Spanish ones. The ones that we're looking at right now are the GIFs. So they're the ones that move. They're very cute. And they tend to get good engagement. People like them. They're very cute. Again, English and Spanish is how those are available. These are just blown up and screen capped versions of some of those. It's the CPS week one with the confetti, where the confetti changes color, which is cute. And then that find a car seat inspection station near you kind of goes through how you would find one, and it's cute. These are some that are older but are still on there because people like them. There's a bunch that are still on there. So if you like one and you can't find it and you want it again, shoot us an email. We would be happy to send it to you. It's not a big deal at all. There are a mixture of static images and GIFs. They're not all GIFs. There are static images too. So just make sure when you're on traffic safety marketing, it'll give you that option to preview or download. And if you download, it downloads as a zipped file. So you'll be able to see that and get everything easily in one place. Again, some more stuff. Just as a note, we are going to have some more new content that's added before CPS week of 24. It's not quite ready yet, so I can't talk about it, but we're close. And we're updating some things that have needed to be updated for a while. So we're excited to be able to share those things. This is a closer look at that educational resources area, that additional resources area. So the educational flyers, the guides, style and branding, and anything you need. And if you have questions or you feel like something is not there that used to be there and you want it, let me know. Somebody emailed me last year and said, hey, I really want a proclamation, when we had kind of decided that maybe we weren't going to do proclamations anymore. So that's great. And the proclamation is up there this year for people that want it. So my information is right here, laura.dunn@dot.gov. If you need anything, we are happy to help. And now we can get on to the main event, which is Liz and Marie.
My problem is when I share my screen, I can't figure out how to unmute myself. So sorry about that. Thank you so much, Laura. That was wonderful. I'm actually going to talk about some of your resources in a little bit too. So we appreciate you sharing all of that amazing stuff. And quick little introduction. My name is Marie Snodgrass. I am the Injury Prevention Program Lead over at CS Mott Children's Hospital at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And I am also the Injury Prevention Healthcare representative on the National Child Passenger Safety Board.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Liz Perez. I'm an injury prevention specialist at Phoenix Children's in Phoenix, Arizona, and happy to be here.
Marie, you're on mute still.
I don't even know how I did that. All right. Sorry about that. It was practice. Brittany mentioned in our introduction that we are going to give you a sneak peek of a resource planning guide for setting up inspection stations and checkup events. And here's your sneak peek. It's a draft. It's still in the draft version right now, and it's going to be living on our resource center soon on the National Child Passenger Safety Board website. And wanted to share with you kind of what the precipice was for us putting together some of the information that we're going to share with you today. And so we kind of built what we're going to talk about off of a lot of the information that's shared through this document. So it will be up soon. We think we've got most of the information finalized on it. And so we're hoping that soon it's going to actually move from that draft form that you see to the final version that's going to be posted. So watch for that to come to our website. We will be sharing that with everybody really soon. One of the great pieces that Laura shared that will be right on that very first page, when you open it up, is the inspection station locator through NHTSA, and then also the Safe Kids resource that will help you locate who the technicians are in your area. So certified technicians will be able to be located through the link that's on this as well. So those are some great resources, but there's a lot of really good information here that we worked really hard at making sure was updated. The board really contributed a lot to this, and so we're really glad that we're going to be able to get this up for you. So watch for this to come your way, and we'll get that up as soon as we possibly can. So prior to setting up an event, being that Child Passenger Safety Week is coming, it'll be here sooner than later, and we want to make sure that everybody's got their balls rolling in the right direction. We want to just kind of talk about a little of the things that we can do to help you set up a successful event. And obviously, when it's just like any other event that we're setting up, but really trying to make a successful Child Passenger Safety Week event or Seat Check Saturday event, whatever it is that you might be doing during this next month of September to highlight child passenger safety. We really want to help you be successful. And so really kind of thinking about how to prioritize where you're going to be doing your events, where you're going to be out, and where you're going to where your efforts are most needed in your communities. So making sure that you're aware of, you know, the demographics that maybe are most in need of support. We focus on underserved communities in my area, so we try to make sure that we're going to the communities when we're out and about for a big event, that we're going to the communities that really need us. Communities that families who maybe have trouble with transportation, don't have as much access to transportation, can still get to us. Areas maybe where we see an increase in injury, increase in motor vehicle crashes, things like that. Just being aware of your community and being aware of the needs of your communities are really important, and really trying to prioritize and going to the areas that maybe have not been served in the past, or areas that maybe you have been to, but when you go, you have a huge response because there's a huge need. You know, those are the areas that we need to make sure we're focusing on. Before we do an event too, we need to make sure we always have a plan for how we're going to handle appointments. Are we going to take appointments, or are we just going to do drive-ups? When we have volunteers coming out and spending the day with us, personally, we like to have a little bit of both. We like to be able to accommodate, you know, drive-ups and people that just kind of drop in because they see something great happening in their community. But we also like to have some appointments on the schedule, because we want to make sure that we have enough to keep our volunteers that are committing their time. You know, we want to make sure that we have enough to kind of keep them busy and keep them interested, right? A lot of our volunteers come out to those events because they need sign-offs or they need, you know, experience. So we want to make sure that we're giving them a worthwhile experience while they're out there. So we try to take appointments as well, and know that also that we have enough seats, that we have enough support for the appointments that we're going to have. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, you want to be able to take drive-ups, but you also want to make sure that you have enough resources there, be it support and supplies for the people that are going to arrive. And then there's always that, how are we going to advertise our event? Are you going to, is it going to be social media? Are you going to put it out? Are you going to do a news story? Are you going to do something before the event that's going to really draw attention to it? And one of the things that, you know, we're lucky about when it comes to, you know, September, when it comes to Child Passenger Safety Month, is there are so many resources. Laura just shared some great resources that NHTSA has on their website. And we have a plethora of resources available to you on the National Child Passenger Safety Board's website. If you were to just go to the Child Passenger Safety Board under CPS Week, we have links to the National Safety Council. We have links to NHTSA, to AAA Mountain West Group, who's got some great resources out there, Safe Kids Worldwide, fact sheets, social media toolkits. There's so much there. So we have a lot of links on our own webpage that will take you, on our own website, that'll take you to some of these great resources that are out there. So we try to make it easy, try to make it accessible for everybody. So don't recreate the wheel. Don't feel like you have to go out there and create new posts, find out what's out there and take advantage of it. We do a lot of work and have a lot of resources, and we want to make sure that you're able to take advantage of what's out there. So we highly encourage you to share posts that you see and to use the resources that are made available to you. Next, just kind of want to touch on when you're scheduling an event or when you're looking at a location, how do you make sure it's the right location? A lot of people on the call probably have, you know, set up multiple seat checks, but there may be some people that haven't, or you haven't done a big one. Maybe you haven't done a big event. Maybe you're doing just some, you know, local fitting stations or little, you know, smaller scale events. But when you're looking at a big event, you're looking at like a seat check Saturday event. You're looking at something that you really want to, you know, have a big draw. You want to have a really big, powerful event. How do you select that location? So what we really recommend is, you know, schedule a walkthrough. Go there prior to actually like scheduling your event there. You know, indoor locations can be great. in the event of inclement weather, whether it be super hot, whether it be super cold, whether it be raining, snowing. In Michigan, we can get it all in a matter of one day. You know, just kind of being able to not have to worry about that is really nice. On the other hand, being outdoors, you tend to have a lot more space. You are a lot more visible to the community. So when you're outside, you know, it's really nice because people can see you and go, wonder what that is. I'm going to drive up and see. So it's really nice to be able to be more visible sometimes and have that big space in a parking lot, you know, like on a corner in some community, because it really does draw people's attention. We definitely want to identify, make sure you have clearly marked entrances and exits, right? You want to ideally have a separate entrance and exit. You don't want to have people coming and going from the same place. It makes it a little bit tighter, makes it more dangerous. We always like to have a clearly identified entrance and a separate exit so that we can have a really clear traffic flow. We want to make sure that traffic is flowing in a safe way and it's not going to be dangerous. Obviously, it's a safety event, right? So we need to make sure that we're thinking safety all the way around. We really try hard not to have cars backing up. We want to make sure that cars can pull straight through whenever possible, because backing up makes it extra challenging sometimes. We've got little people there, we've got kids, so they're hard to view, hard to see when we're backing up. And so we really want to make sure that we have space, if at all possible, so that cars, when they pull in, they park, they can pull straight out when they go to leave. And we also need to think about like just the community traffic, right? If we're going to have a backup, you know, because it's going to be such a great supported and advertised event and everybody's coming out to it, are we going to have enough space for cars that are waiting to get in for their turn? Are we going to be backed up on the road? Are we going to cause traffic issues like out into the community? That could be an issue. So we need to think about that. If we're at a fire station, are we blocking their route in and out, you know, for their trucks? That can be a huge issue. So we just need to think about those types of things and make sure that we've got spaces for cars that are maybe waiting to come into our event. A couple more things when we're walking through and evaluating that space. We want to make sure that it's a space that's going to be safe and comfortable for the kids that are coming and for their caregivers, right? We're going to have maybe small babies, small children, pregnant moms, so we might need some spaces for them to sit down sometimes. We clearly need to make sure we've got bathrooms accessible for the pregnant moms and for the small children, right? We need to make sure, and our volunteers. But we want to make sure we've got, you know, bathrooms that are going to be accessible for the people that we're working with as well as our workers. They should be like, you know, bathrooms that can be available to the public, not just like the, you know, the fire station bathroom that they don't want people seeing. So we just need to make sure that we're thinking about that. When at all possible, we definitely need to make sure that the spaces that we're using are accessible for individuals with disabilities, so that they're ADA accessible is extremely important. And we want to make sure that that's something that we're thinking about prior to an event and not as an afterthought. So keep that in mind, please, when you're setting up an event. And then if it's going to be held where people are still working, if you're going to be holding an event at a fire station or at a car dealership, and they're still servicing vehicles, or they're going to be still making runs, they all need to be aware that we're going to be in their space and that we're going to have small children, right? They need to understand that we're going to impact their work day a little bit, and just know that we're going to do our best to keep everybody kind of contained to our space, but that there's going to be a little change to their environment that day. So we just want to make sure that that's going to not have too negative an impact on them, but that we can kind of coexist, if you will. We tend to do an agreement with our agencies that we work with prior to going in, and not everybody does this. And it's just something that I like to share just in case it's something that you would like to adopt. But kind of letting the agencies that we're working with or who we're partnering with, let them know like what they can expect from us and then what we need in return from them. So knowing that we like from us, they can expect that we're going to have liability insurance is covered by my institution. So that's not an issue that they have to worry about for any volunteers or my staff. We're going to come in 30 minutes at least, maybe 60 minutes, depending on how big the event is, to do setup. We have all the supplies, all of the equipment, everything. We're going to clean up. We're going to secure the building. If it's in the evening, we'll make sure everything's locked up when we leave, all of those types of things. What do we need from you? Again, we need to make sure that we have access to the building 30 to 60 minutes prior. If it's inside, how many bays do we have? If we're going to be outside, how do we get inside to use restrooms? Things like that. So just thinking about that. Dumpster space, that's always an issue for us. I don't know about you guys, but it's really a pain when I have to put a bunch of old nasty car seats into my trunk to bring home and destroy. Have done it a number of times, and it's my husband's favorite thing that I do. But we, it happens, right? Because we don't always have access to dumpsters or garbage bins after a big event when we are taking car seats and replacing them with new ones. So those are things that we do. This is just a copy of, I don't expect you really to see it, but we are sharing these slides so you can look at this. But you probably can't see all the details in here, but this is one that we actually have done with one of our fitting stations that's recurring. So this isn't like for a big seat check Saturday event, but more or less like a fire station that we work with. And so it's recurring on a certain day each month, which is important because if it's, I think the fourth Thursday of each month, we run into Thanksgiving, we run into Christmas. So we had to do some things with them to say we're going to have to figure out if we're going to reschedule on those days or if we're going to cancel, things like that. So just some things that we put out there for them. But also they have my contact information and cell phone, and I have the chief's cell phone number. And so if we have any emergency, any issue, or any problem, he knows how to get a hold of me and I know how to get a hold of him. So good ways to, have, a great partnership with the agencies or the organizations you're working with. And then finally, I just want to mention, just kind of briefly talk about liability coverage. It's an issue that still will come up in conversation sometimes. Hasn't been an issue that we've had. I work at the University of Michigan. When I went to the legal team at our university and explained that everybody that works with us is certified, they go through, everything that we go through as far as certification, recertification, keeping up on all of our stuff. They had no issues at all with anything that we're doing, as long as we always have a paid staff person at all of our events. They said everybody who works with us is covered under our insurance. So we have had literally no issue since the Insurance for Safe Kids has gone away. But I do know that, it's something that people still like to talk about and make sure if it's going to be covered under the insurance of the host site, maybe if it's covered by the agency or organization that's coming in, just kind of figuring that kind of stuff out. I know I've got some groups, some individuals, I should say, that I work with that have limited liability coverage for themselves. So if they go out and do work with families, do home visits or do one-on-one work, things like that. So it's always, something to think about, but it has never really been an issue. I think it is super important to keep in mind that we document everything that we do when we work with families. Caregivers, they sign off in the very beginning before we start. They also initial at the end when we document everything that we've done with them as they're leaving. We're educators, we are not installers. So we're not doing it for them, we're educating them, and they're the last ones that touch the seat. They're the ones installing those seats. And whenever possible, it's great to work with a partner. I've been doing this for 23 years now, and I want somebody looking over a seat being an extra set of eyes every time I help with an installation. So I think it's super important to have all of those boxes checked as well. And then this hopefully isn't an issue that anybody even has to deal with if we can kind of make sure for the most part that we're, keeping all of those pieces in mind and we're documenting and doing things that way. The following are the most common types. There's many states that have the Good Samaritan law, and there's coverage that can kind of be, we can kind of fall under that often. And then there's general insurance policies that, like I said, like for us, we fall under our hospital and universities insurance policy. So just important to kind of know that, I guess, or look into that if you have any questions with your agency that you work for. And on that note, tried to go quick so that I would leave Liz enough time, but I'm happy to answer any questions at the end if anybody has any.
All right, so now we're going to look at the following supplies that are helpful during a checkup event. It's important to have everything you need to run an event well. It's also helpful when technicians, come to the event and know that the person who is running the event is very well prepared. So here are just a couple of supplies in regards to what can be helpful to you, and some that are needies. For example, the car seat check forms, whether you're using paper forms or if you're using the NDCF and you have those devices, whether it's on a tablet or phones, we want to make sure that those are powered up. We want to make sure that they have enough battery if you're using a tablet. Also, for those who don't have an account with the NDCF, you do want to let your technicians know in advance to create an account before the event, so that can definitely be used. If you're using the paper forms, it's also very nice to for the technicians to get familiarized if it's a different form, maybe from your own agency, hospital, wherever it is that you're working at, so that they are familiar with the form as well. Some look similar, and sometimes the other ones have a different type of information. Also, the current recall list, make sure that you have that available and make sure that it's current as well. We, on the National Child Passenger Safety Board, on the website, you're able to find a plethora of different websites, different resources where you can print out, or you can just definitely have there the current recall list. All you need to do is log on to the National Child Passenger Safety Board website, click on the Resource Center tab, and on the accordion, you will definitely find the recall list. Educational materials. Families, once they were able to go ahead and get the information that you went ahead and provided, sometimes we forget. I'll forget certain things stay in my mind, and other ones I will definitely be like, oh my gosh, what was it that that she told me that I should check for? Providing those educational materials that they can later on go back and take a look at, and review those, anything that they may have forgotten. If you have them in multiple languages, that would be great. So that if we have other families who do not speak English, cannot read English, do you have them in Spanish? Any other type of languages is also helpful to have them. Car seats and booster seats. Are you going to be replacing any? Are you going to be giving any out? Definitely having some of those at hand for expired seats, broken seats, anything like that, and just making sure that we have some car seats available for replacement, again, if that's possible. Dolls. Sometimes children are present and sometimes they're not. So if children are not present, it's very good to have those dolls handy, whether if you have a variety of dolls from infants to a little bit more in the toddlers, or having them a little bit more booster seat age. But having a doll where the caregiver can actually practice the harnessing on. How to adjust the harness, how to make sure that the chest clip is at armpit level, the pinch test, and so forth. So having those dolls is also very helpful. Next, awesome. So we'll continue with pool noodles or towels. If we're unable to get that correct angle on that car seat, these are gonna come in handy. So having those available for technicians. Locking clips. I just had this morning where I had not seen an automatic retractor in quite a few years, and I had it this morning. So having those locking clips available for that automatic locking retractor, I did not need it this morning, but guess what? The two on the side that were lap and shoulder seatbelts, yeah, it was from a 1995 Ford Explorer, and again, their seatbelts didn't lock. So having those locking clips available is very, very important that you do have them. A scale and height measure. Sometimes I have families who give me what I call guesstimations on their child's weight or height, and sometimes it's not very accurate. And so having that available is important, so that if the children are there, that you actually get an accurate weight, making sure that they are suitable to sit in the car seat that they currently have, and that they have not exceeded the maximum weight or height of that car seat / booster seat. Scissors or box cutters. Very good to have in handy. Sometimes those pool noodles can be very long, or for different things, maybe opening up the car seat boxes as well. So having those at hand is also very helpful. Clipboards. pens, pencils, markers, highlighters even. Just another set of supplies that will be helpful to you during your event. Traffic cones, directional signs. So traffic cones, again, do we want to block a certain area? Is it to kind of separate where station 1 is, station 2, and so forth? The directional signs, do we want to have, for us, what's very helpful is we like to put them in English and Spanish so that it's available and easy to read, whether they're Spanish speaking or English speaking. And so having those directional signs, where should they enter, where not to enter, where to exit, what is the check-in station for the volunteers, where should they go? So having those signs is going to help with directing families as well as your volunteers. Tents, tables, and chairs. Sometimes it's possible to have tents for every station. Sometimes it's not. Same thing goes with chairs and tables, but having those available is very helpful, as well as disposable gloves, hand sanitizers, the first aid kit. Hopefully nobody gets hurt or an owie, but if it is, we want to have all of these supplies available for our volunteers, for our caregivers, for all the staff that is present during the event. So defined roles. So what we want to go ahead and know about defined roles is, how do you want your event to run? Are you going to have teams? Are you going to have people working alone? When we give the technicians and volunteers a heads up, it helps them better understand their responsibilities and their roles. So let's take a look at some of those defined roles. The car seat checkup event coordinator. So our coordinator is definitely the one who is organizing the event, has done the walkthrough, has been making sure that we have all the supplies, getting the technicians, so they're coordinating the event in general. Our greeter is the what I call the front face of the event. They are the one who makes the first contact with that family as they come in. Sometimes even people who are passing by and are like, hey, what are you guys doing? We see this going on. So again, having that greeter who is actually greeting the families, they're the ones who make that first contact. They also are usually the ones who provide the car seat checkup form if they're doing the paper form. And so they have them go ahead and fill that out. So having a greeter, very, very important. They are the first ones to make contact with that family. A traffic coordinator, again, safety is our priority, and we want to make sure that traffic is flowing safely. If we have any kids, that nobody is going to go ahead and get hurt. The kids are in a safe area being cared for. So that traffic coordinator is going to make sure that we have a good traffic flow. Also, they are the ones who are usually yelling along with everyone else, vehicle moving. So we want to make sure that we have a traffic coordinator who helps us with that traffic flow. Our technicians who are going to be assisting the families, they're going to go ahead and help the caregivers, again, educate them on the installation of their car seat. If you're able to have a lead technician or a lead instructor, sometimes also known as a senior checker, if you can go ahead and have one, or a technician proxy, that's very good. Marie mentioned something about having a second look, 2 eyes. And so we want to be able to go ahead and provide that if you have somebody available, somebody who takes a second look and just make sure that everything is correct before that family leaves. The scribe. The scribe's going to be able to go ahead and help the technician, get the information of that car seat, record that information about passengers, how they arrived, information about that car seat. Is it expired? Is there anything recalled? So definitely assisting the technician during the education with the caregiver. Volunteers. Sometimes we need volunteers to help us with taking care of the children, making sure that the children are safely, if they're going to take them to a different area, whether it's you're hosting it at a library, are they going to have a room available? Can we have the volunteers go ahead and do that? Sometimes volunteers are also there available to go ahead and bring and take car seats. Where are we going to dispose this? Where are we going to do that? Sometimes they help as scribes too, and we give them a little bit of a rundown if we don't have any technicians that can be scribes. But having volunteers for different types of needs that we have during the event is going to be very helpful to you. So now let's put it all together. Now let's map it out. I know the supplies that I need. I know what roles that I'm going to go ahead and need. So now you want to go ahead and map it out. What I really like to do is having an aerial satellite map that I like to go ahead and put it all together and put where the vehicles are going to be, how many stations are there going to be. The little smiley faces basically means, okay, these are going to be the traffic coordinators. They are going to go ahead and make sure that traffic flows smoothly. We don't want vehicles to be backing out. So again, they're going to assist them when making sure that they can exit nice and safely out of their actual station. Make sure that you also have a check-in. Where are families going to go ahead and check in? Is it going to be the same place where volunteers are going to check in upon arrival? So just having different, whether it's pictures, I like to use a lot of visuals, having text on there as well. That is very helpful to lay out the event. Volunteer parking. Where are your volunteers going to be parking? Is there enough parking? Is there another section of parking where they're going to walk a little bit of a distance? Restrooms, break rooms, where are those available? You want to go ahead and map that out as well. So just getting a good visual of where everything is going to be, how it's going to run. I like to send this to all our volunteers and all our technicians, all the staff that's going to be participating during the checkup event, so that they have an idea, again, not only where they're going to park, but also what the event is going to look like and what the flow is going to be for entrance and exiting. The date of the event. So we want to ask volunteers to arrive maybe 30 to 60 minutes prior to the event. Why? Why do we want them to arrive in advance? Well, we want them to help us with setup. We want to also discuss roles and responsibilities. So I do a little bit of a pre-meeting. Once everyone is there, they arrive there, volunteers have checked in, technicians have checked in as well. Before we start up with that setup, I go ahead and let's do a little bit of a pre-meeting. Let's discuss roles. Let's go ahead and raise our hands. Does anybody need sign-offs? Do we have any instructors here who can help us with those sign-offs? So again, just doing a pre-meeting, and we want them to arrive again within that time frame before your event, just to go ahead and have those discussions. Also with setup, we need 5 people to help us go get tables and chairs that are inside of the center, whatever it might be. We want to be able to discuss those roles and responsibilities. Also, are any car seats going to be distributed? And also, what's the process for them? Maybe we have a limited amount of how many car seats we can distribute. Is there a process? Do we need to do a little bit of more questions in regards to, are we able to go ahead and replace it with the family, and asking them more questions because we have a limited amount. So we want to go ahead and review that during the meeting as well. Photo releases. If you want to take pictures, you want to take video, what's the process for handling those? Something that we like to do is provide families at the very beginning, which is what the greeter does, is that they go ahead and let them know that we will be taking pictures, or if it's video, are they okay with having their picture taken? Are they okay being on video? And if so, we have them go ahead and sign a photo release form. And if they go ahead and accept that they have no problem with having their pictures taken, video taken, then we go ahead and give them a colored wristband. And we let our technicians and volunteers know, and whoever is either taking pictures or filming, that every time you see the family, even a technician or volunteer, that they have allowed us to take pictures of them, video of them, that they will have that colored wristband. And so it's easy for us to go ahead and distinguish them that way. Also, we want them to help us with breakdown, just like they helped us with setup, all our volunteers. We want them to help us with breakdown at the end, any help that is needed. It's very helpful because at the end of the day, we're all tired. We did a great job, but again, we need that help with breakdown. And take care of your volunteers. If you're able to provide them water, some type of snacks when it's possible, it's very nice, especially if you're running a very long event. And because during the event, sometimes we're all very busy. We're all very busy. We didn't get a chance to say goodbye to everyone, whatever it might be. You want to follow up with an email. You want to follow up with an email to those technicians, to the volunteers, to the host. We want to thank them. We want them to know that we appreciated their support, their help during the event. We couldn't have done it without them, definitely. So, and we also want to include information in regards to a lot of our volunteers want to know how many seats were checked? How many families did we help out? Did we replace any seats? How many were there? We want to get that information. It just makes us feel really, really good inside to know that we helped all these families. And our end goal at the very end of the day is for every child to leave safer than they arrived. That is our end goal. And so we hope this information is very helpful to you during your car seat checkup events.
All right. Thank you so much to Laura, Marie, and Liz. If you have not entered your question yet in the Q&A box, please go ahead and do so. We do have a question here. Someone is asking, they're currently using the Buckle Up to Grow Up video by NHTSA, and they're wondering if there's any updated car seat safety videos that they can use to show to caregivers. So Laura, if you wouldn't mind answering that one for us.
Sure. So we have a few videos coming up for coming soon. I don't have a hard delivery date right now, but we hope that they will be ready close to Child Passenger Safety Week at this point. But we have developed new installation videos for each mode. So rear facing, forward facing, booster, and belts. So those will be coming soon. And when they're available, we will be sure to let you know. But also the National Child Passenger Safety Board YouTube channel has some videos that you may want to check out. So thanks.
Excellent, thank you. And there is another question about emergency situations and whether they're covered in this planning guide. We do have weather situations covered. I will bring up the recommendation about other emergency situations and see if we're able to get that into this version. And go ahead, I don't see any other open questions. So if you can move to the next slide, we have a few closing announcements. All right, so we hope that you're enjoying our National Child Passenger Safety Board webinar series. We sure are having fun delivering them. We hope you'll join us on Tuesday, September 17th for a CEU webinar about transporting our littlest passengers safely. Visit cpsboard.org/webinars to register or scan the QR code that is on your screen. Next slide. Whoops, sorry, that was my fault. The 2025 National CPS Awards are open. So if you work with a technician, instructor, or child passenger safety team that goes above and beyond, please take the time to recognize them at cpsboard.org/awards. The nominations close August 31st. So get those nominations in quickly. And please email secretariat@cpsboard.org if you have any questions on that. Next slide. We are also looking for a public safety fire/EMS representative to join the National Child Passenger Safety Board for the May 2025 to May 2028 term. If you know someone who is in the fire EMS field and actively working in child passenger safety who is interested in applying, please visit cpsboard.org/learn about the board /board membership. Or you can email secretariat@cpsboard.org with questions. Next slide. Thank you. This webinar will be posted to carseyeducation.org within 1 to 2 business days. We really appreciate you joining us today. Have a safe day, and thank you for all you do to help keep children, passengers, and their families safe. And we hope you have a great Child Passenger Safety Month and week, and that you're able to use some of these tools for your events. Thank you. Kendra, if you can go ahead and stop the recording, please.